Blanco, Wilson, and Gaudin. De La Rosa ready to go, and Tony Gwynn takes the first pitch south of the knees, ball one. Tony at 286 in his first week plus in a San Diego uniform. Jody Garrett, a little more than a week ago, was traded by the Padres to Milwaukee, and Gwynn came from Milwaukee, where he was playing at AAA, to San Diego, and that's in there with a loud thud at 93 miles an hour, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Gwynn, who, George, had a rough night in center field yesterday, and he woke up this morning. He's in the lineup. That's the good news. The bad news is, I guess, for him, as he moved from center to right.
He made some bad judgments yesterday on some baseballs. He lost one into the sky here at Coors Field. The other, he charged on a ball that got by him late. Aggressive moves by him. There's the big sweeper. The slider to be able to get the strikeout by De La Rosa to start this ball game against the Padres this afternoon. That hard slider in the outer half of the plate to induce that. The Fidelity scouting report on Mr. De La Rosa today. Look for that fastball, particularly out here, away from the right-handers. 89-95 up and away with the fastball. And then you just saw the slider at 82-88 on the outer half of the plate.
All of that brought to you by Fidelity. Here's David Eckstein. He was a pain in the neck again last night. Couple of hits, another walk. Typical night at the yard for David Eckstein. He takes strike one. And this is in the air to Brad Hopp. Easy play for Brad. 2 pitches. Eckstein is retired. Let's take a look at the gloves this afternoon behind Jorge De La Rosa. Ian Stewart is in left field. Mostly we've seen Ian either at third or second. He's in left field getting a start this afternoon. Dexter Fowler, Brad Hopp with him. And then in the infield, Stewart can't be in 2 places. Garrett Atkins is at third. Tulowitzki, Barmas, and Helton in the infield with Yorvi Torrealba doing the catching.
Well, he could be. He'd just have to run back and forth.
He would have to be like Ricky Henderson fast.
Well,
to do
just
that.
Run back and forth. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen that before? I've seen that. I have seen that. You know, when you have on your little league team and 2 kids come down with the flu, and so you go short now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
0-1 on Scott Hairston. And this ball is fouled off.
The only other time I've seen it, when you're walking a guy intentionally and you load the bases to get out, they'll bring a center fielder in and have him kind of play right behind second and eliminate center field and hope that you get a ground ball double play. If it's hitting there, they know they're going to lose the ball game anyway. They do that occasionally at the big league level. Not often, but they do.
Now, Stewart's a good athlete. His versatility helps get his bat out there. 0-2 is up high. 1-2. Well, Hairston smothered this fastball from Houston Street in a 6-6 game.
On an inside sinker. Yeah, an inside sinker. And he just opened that front side up and just put the leather wood to it. I mean, he's a nice player to watch play the game. He's hitting .321. He's got 6 home runs, 21 RBIs, 44 hits. To think about this, folks, 17 of those 44 hits are for extra bases.
We've talked about it many times in the past when he was with Arizona. George, I like him. He's a good player. He's a good guy in the clubhouse.
Health issues have always been a thing.
Yeah.
Stay healthy throughout a season.
And the sliders in the dirt. 3-2 on Scott. Hairston went to Central Arizona Junior College, signed out of there. Otherwise, he was going to continue his baseball career and his education at Nebraska. 3-2, and it's fisted towards second. Barmas with the range, and he didn't get there. That's a tremendous play by Clint just to get to the baseball, and Hairston runs well, so it's an infield hit for Scott.
Well, plus you're shading up the middle. You're not shading it. He's going to hit the ball over to this side of the infield. So on the third hop, it's able to get to Barmas, and then the off-balance throw. A lot of guys spin and throw, but didn't have an option to do it there because of the speed of Hairston running up the baseline.
And with 2 outs, Adrian Gonzalez will come up. Adrian hit a 3-run home run in the first yesterday. Leading all of baseball with 19 home runs, 14 on the road. He's hitting over 300 on the road. You know, that's the thing with most of the Padres regulars, George. You know, usually even if Coors Field's not your home, usually because of comfort, you're going to hit better in your home ballpark.
Typically you are. You're in your own bed. You're driving your car to the ballpark every day. You have more of a normal routine.
Right. It is not the case for most of these guys with Petco being their home.
See, and a little bit of that's confusing to me because, and the reason I say that, back in the first inning yesterday, you saw the opposite field home run on a pretty good pitch from Hamill. That ball was down. It just shows you the type of hitter Gonzalez is. That their averages aren't a little bit higher. You got big gaps. It's a big outfield.
But,
you know, the ball
George,
doesn't carry, but still you got to hit. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad place.
That ball sits in the air.
No, it does, but still, I'm talking about line drives, hitting the ball, staying on top of it. Quit trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark at that yard. Isn't going to happen.
That's a good pitch right there. 95-mile-an-hour heater. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Look at Adrian's splits to the point that we're discussing. Adrian hitting .304 out on the road, and at home .259. You'd expect the power numbers to be diminished at Petco.
Well, you would. I mean, the 5 home runs there, all of that when they had the big power, when that first thing just opened up with Klesko and Giles were hitting 30 home runs a year, and all of a sudden the ball just started dying. Didn't happen. They never complained about it, though.
Well, Nevin, I mean, when Petco opened, all of a sudden guys who were used to hitting 25, 30-plus home runs, Phil Nevin and Ryan Klesko. I mean, that was all the conversation was about the first year plus going into Petco. You just couldn't hit the ball out. They ended up moving the fence in certain places on a couple of occasions. Bud Black doesn't mind. He was a pitcher.
No, that's the thing. Go out and play defense, catch the ball, then make sure that you throw strikes, work ahead in the count. You're going to win a lot of games there, typically.
De La Rosa strikes out. Adrian Gonzalez, 2 punch outs in a very impressive first inning for Jorge De La Rosa. See the Rockies on offense when we come back. Tommy Runnels, the Rockies' new bench coach. Here's the Rockies batting order presented by Southwest.com. Following Dexter will be Clint Barmas. He had the 4 hits, 3 extra base hits last night. Then Todd Helton, Garrett Atkins, Brad Hopp. He had 3 hits and 3 ribbers yesterday. Ian Stewart in the 6th hole in left field. Then Tulowitzki, Torrealba, and De La Rosa to face Chad Godin. And the first pitch is outside. 1 hit yesterday for Fowler. It was a double to left. He's been in the lineup every day in center field atop the Rockies lineup, and this is chopped foul. George, he's demonstrated an ability for me to hit pitches that sometimes are maybe in off the plate with an odd bat angle. And what I'm impressed with is his hand-eye coordination. That's a strike, 1 and 2.
Well, what he's done more than anything is obviously closed the stance up, got the hands together, lowered the hands for him to be able to hit the baseball. His hands used to be up here. Now all of a sudden he's got down here. So all it is a rotate back and go to the baseball, and he gets to it very quickly. See a simple little rotation back. Because anytime you have such a wide body like that, and then you spread out, everything's wide, makes it very difficult to react to the baseball, particularly at this level. He took a pitch here for strike 3. That's because of that guy right there, folks. Henry Blanco's going to get a lot of pitches called today. As we look at the Fidelity scouting report on Mr. Godin today in this ball game, he's a guy that's going to be a low 3/4. He's going to run a fastball 86-91. He's going to sink it to both sides of the plate. He will come on your hands occasionally. He'll try to stay down with his fastball here and then create some good sink to it. He throws a little slider to go along with it, occasional changeup. The one thing that jumped out at me today as I started to look at his numbers, Drew, that come over in his career out on the road, he's 12-17 with almost a 5 earned run average, or a little over 5. Well, at home, he's 17-11 with a 3.8. That has carried over to the Padres. He's 1-0 and 150 at Petco. Out on the road, 0-3 with a 6.26 earned run average.
Sounds like Chris Young. Young has the high earned run average out on the road.
Well, part of
what
that,
George is talking about. That's career-wise. It's an even larger disparity this year.
Well, the reason I bring that out is he's only been at Petco for a short time. It's those numbers also reflect what he was doing in Oakland and over in Chicago.
Well, here's part of the issue, though, for Godin, George. This is his 7th start in a Padre uniform since he was released by the Cubs. 6 of those 7 starts out on the road.
Yeah, that's a big problem. Obviously, 0-3, 6.26 earned run average.
You guys keep telling me about Petco. When are you going to let me pitch there? His number just hasn't come up when the Padres have been at home. Barnes has a good at bat going, fouling off a couple of pitches in a row. He's behind 0-2. Another thing that jumped out at me, righties hitting 250 against him. That's a good number. Lefties just 193 this year against Godin.
Well, that's that hard sinker. So he took he dropped the velocity, folks, there. And that wasn't that good a slider. But at 94 miles an hour, dropped to 81. He got strikeout.
Defensively, Chase Headley's in left field. Tony Gwynn, who struggled a bit, is in right field. Scott Hairston in center field this afternoon. Kuzminoff, Josh Wilson left side. David Eckstein, Adrian Gonzalez right side. And Henry Blanco's behind the plate. Tremendous receiver. Helton's 1 for 5 against Godin. And he takes a strike at the knees. Todd in the first inning yesterday, an RBI double. So now he's just 19 shy of 500 doubles in his career. That's a strike also. 0-2. So 12 pitches so far fired by Godin. Only 1 has been outside the strike zone. Better be ready to hit. Blanco goes to the outer edge. And it's swung on and missed at 93 miles an hour. So a very good start for Godin. He strikes out the side. We'll go to the second, no score. Scott Hairston an infield hit against De La Rosa with 2 outs. It'll be Kevin Kuzminoff, Chase Headley, and Henry Blanco. Well, both De La Rosa and Godin very impressive in the first inning. 5 strikeouts between them. Godin struck out the side, and De La Rosa struck out Gwynn and Adrian Gonzalez. Here's Kevin Kuzminoff. And a swing and a miss. That fastball at De La Rosa's, he has such a great arm. It sits between 93 and 95 miles an hour consistently. Rockies fans have seen him enough over the last year, basically, in the second half of last year and first 2 months of this season. You realize when he's on, he's very, very special. It all comes down to how he deals with adversity, and typically in any game there's going to be some adversity, even when you have tremendous stuff. 2-1 on Kevin, and this is a foul ball. Take a look at our Bird Auto keys to the game. George, what have you written up today?
I don't know. I thought you wrote them. Did I write them?
You wrote them.
I wrote them. I wrote them. Where are they? Let me see those things again. The hits continue. How about that, huh? Yesterday they were able to multiply on the hits of what they had. De La Rosa is going to be huge. Typically a 5+ to 6 inning guy. So then that bullpen's going to play a role down the backside, and it was awesome yesterday because Fogg came in and ate up 2 1/3 innings, allowed that offense to get back into the ball game. Embry did a nice job. Corpus did a good job, and then Street ends up getting a W. Fun day.
Really fun day. Coming back to that celebration after the game. I was on a jog this morning. A couple of my neighbors were out and about. Mentioned something about last night. It just goes to show you, no matter how much pain there's been so far this year. And it's a towering fly ball to short left field. Here comes Stewart. He'll put it away. No matter how much there is in terms of difficulty, and no matter how much players are paid and all that, at the end of the day, they're competitors. They want to win, and you saw that demonstrated last night after the Rockies came from behind.
Absolutely. There's no question about what we just had.
So here's Chase Headley, and he fouls it off at the plate. The original lineup that Bud Black put out had Kuzminoff in the 6-hole, Headley in the 5-hole, and then it got flip-flopped.
Again, because I had it this way in the beginning of the game. I just looked at Sam. I said I had it in the beginning, and when I came in the booth, they said no, flip-flop. Headley's going to hit 5th and Kuzminoff 6th. Now Kuzminoff's back 5 and Headley 6. Whatever. He's 6th in the lineup.
Swung on and missed. But Headley is the strikeout victim. Let's go down to Mark Stout with our first Mike Shaw auto update.
All right, Drew, let's talk a little Rockies defense. Jim Tracy was asked the other day about the team being ranked 10th in the National League in fielding, considering the fact that the infield, for the most part, it's the same guys that set the record back in 2007. He answered the question with a question saying, well, how many errors do we have off the hill? So I did the math. The Rockies have 31 errors this season, 9 from their pitchers, including 3 from Jorge De La Rosa, who's starting here today. And I told Jim Tracy about that, and I said, you know what? If you deduct those from the pitchers, and I know you really can't, but the Rockies are then tied for 4th in the National League in fielding with San Diego. And he said, yeah, it's a misnomer. It looks a lot better for the position players than what we have. So some interesting numbers about the Rockies defense. Maybe not so bad because of the errors off the hill. And, George, you know all about that.
Yeah, you know what? That's a big number for a pitching staff to have 9 errors, and particularly with Jorge. 2 of those came in one game, I think, against the Padres out in Petco that just opened up the floodgates.
Here's the 1-1 on Henry Blanco. He's out front. It's 1-2.
There's a lot of guys, too, though. You know what? When they get that ground ball back on the mound, they're just more comfortable running over and tossing it underhanded to the first baseman for whatever reason.
I'll tell you what surprises me. Aaron Cook has 2 errors, and Jason Marquis has 2 errors. 2
very good athletes.
Yeah. So the infield defense has actually been pretty sound. 2 balls and 2 strikes, to Mark's point. 2 out, nobody on. Henry Blanco, who knows he's playing at least every 5th day when Jake Peavy pitches. He's his personal caddy.
Well, Blanco's kind of one of those scary bats. He's never going to hit for a high average, but he can run into a fastball. You leave something out over the middle of the plate. He's got 3 home runs.
He won against the Rockies earlier this year.
10 hits, a double, 4, almost half of his base hits are extra base hits. A guy that was originally a third baseman. And Mike Sosa, who was the manager, his manager in AAA with the Dodgers, said, "Why don't you go behind the plate?" Pretty good move, obviously.
Well, that's what catchers do. They try to influence other people. To
do you know who
catchers.
was another came up with a pretty good third baseman? Who was moved behind the plate? Yorvin Torrealba. He's a very good third baseman in the Giants system, and they put him behind the plate.
It's hard for many guys to go from behind the plate somewhere other than first base. So when you see a guy like Biggio, when he did it, George, and especially the places he went, second base,
part of the reason they moved him from behind the plate, I was in spring training with him with the Houston Astros in '88, the first year he caught, was his size. They're very concerned about injury at the plate with collisions, the wear and tear. I mean, he's 5'9", 5'10", weighed about 170 pounds at that time, and they said, you know what, you got great agility, great range left, right, and you run really well. We're going to move you to second base. Obviously wasn't a bad choice.
Wilson breaks his bat. Tulowitzki goes to his double plate partner Clint Barmes the short way for the force out. Another good inning for De La Rosa. Atkins will lead it off for the Rockies. Mako, it happened last night. Brad Hopp with Garrett Atkins at first. Tony Gwynn dives, bad idea. Turns into a run-scoring double, a game winner, a walk-off hit for Brad Hopp. And the Rockies' first walk-off win of 2009. And now they're trying to sweep the San Diego Padres. That was our Mako big hit of the week. Garrett Atkins, let's not forget what he did in the 9th inning. 2 outs after Barmes steals second. He hits a single up the middle against Heath Bell to tie it up. And then Addy, who's never going to be confused for Skeets Nehemiah, comes all the way around from first base, George.
Who?
Well, I hadn't broke out Ronaldo Nehemiah in a while.
Wow, that was pretty good.
Yep, former San Francisco 49er receiver.
Who?
Sam Polis, who's with us, is our statistician this week, and he remembers Skeets Nehemiah. Covered the Penn Relays, in fact, when Skeets was running hurdles. Here's the 1-1. 2-1.
Won the Superstar competition.
Did he win the Superstars? Good athlete, George. There you go. They're resurrecting that program, by the way.
The 49ers?
They need to have an old-timer Superstars. I'm gonna sign you up for that.
You can pass. Don't worry about that part. That's kind of like playing on gladiators. I'm out on that deal too.
Yeah, those are big. Those are big guys that are hitting you with
I'm done.
mallets and chasing you down. Good concept though. 2-2 on Atkins, and a shattered piece of wood. Well, if you have that sound and you're driving somewhere, it means the glass on your windshield probably broke. And we know where to go. You go to Safelite Auto Glass, Elite Safelite Auto Glass. And you can visit them online at safelite.com or give them a ring at 303-287-5000. Atkins feeling better at the plate. Hairston shading him toward right center. Sliders outside. I'll tell you about our umpires today. We have not done that as of yet. Chris Caccione from Salida, Colorado, is behind the plate. Todd Tishner is at first. Jerry Lane is at second. Tony Randazzo is at third base. And a slider on 3-2, strikes out Garrett Atkins. 4 straight strikeouts to begin. That's not normally Godin's mode of operation.
No, he's not, but he's showing a pretty good fastball and a slider, being able to position it where he needs to during this ball game, so obviously having success with it. You know, Todd Tishner took a pretty good hit today in the Denver Post. Got him pretty good with all of the something that he tossed out 4 guys the other day in one play. 80 games in the big leagues. Had more ejections apparently than a lot of people.
Brad Hopp with a 1-0 count at the plate. Yeah, I will say this, George, and you know, you played out there. You never umpired, obviously. It's not an easy job.
Oh,
Then you got somebody running out at this level. Then you got somebody running out there who's incensed, understandably so. And it's probably hard to remain cool in some of those situations. There's another base hit for Brad Hopp. Rockies' first contact of the ball game against Chad Godin. So with 1 out, Brad's aboard for Ian Stewart.
Well, it is. It's going to be a fastball on that inner half down again. That's got a little bit of run to it. Takes it right out to right field on the Hyundai cam. See the solid contact, the concentration by Mr. Hopp.
And Brad chatting up Adrian Gonzalez at first. Ian Stewart's not been in the starting lineup of late, but he's getting a start in left field this afternoon. George, this is a number I just don't get. He's hitting 158 against right-handed pitching. That hit him.
Yeah, you know, and I'm going to be a little bit surprised if Bud Black didn't come out and ask whether he was trying to bunt the baseball. And did he get the bat back in time? Yeah, he's asking right now. Said he didn't get it back out of the way. So he pulled the bat back in time for that, but it just caught him in the foot. He went out to bunt this, going to put the runner in scoring position, and when he did, he just took the shot off the leg.
That's a great call. First and second, 1 out, and here's Tulowitzki. Do you think, George, Troy's ultra competitiveness sometimes works against him?
No question. It does with everybody. It does with, I mean, any work of life. When every time you start to struggle a little bit, car salesman, guys out on the street, farmer shooter, whatever it is. As soon as you start to struggle a little bit, or somebody tells you you're not doing your job, then you try to do it 10 times better than the way you should do it. Instead of just doing what you know best, is playing the game and relax and play the game. You know, it's an old cliche. Let the game come to you. Anytime you start to speed up the game, slam on the brakes. Slow it back down again. Whether you're on the mound or at the plate or where you're fielding your position.
But Clint was fond of saying, you know, then you're no longer playing the game, you're working the game. And then you're not going to have results.
Well,
here's the 1-1. And it's fouled off.
And you can't listen to 100 different things. You got to settle in on what makes you successful. And I think one of the things that I've always heard really good hitting instructors talk about when you go into slumps, a couple of things. Think hit and run. If you're going to stay back, you're going to drive the ball to the right side. You're going to see the ball longer. The other thing, you've got to designate your strike zone. You cannot sit here and swing at pitches everywhere that you don't see. Recognize the pitch out of the hand. You know, you hear talking an awful lot about concentration. And I talk to pitchers about this a lot. When a guy's wild, I said, did you see the 45-inch screen or did you see the 12-inch screen? And what? Were you looking to see hitter, catcher, backstop, dinger, the people on the first 4 rows, or did you just see Torrealba behind the plate? And it's the same thing with a hitter. When you're looking out, you want to catch the baseball coming right out of the ear so you can see the rotation on it. Are you seeing the center fielder, the base runner, the umpire, or are you seeing the baseball? And I think that's one thing that you kind of zero that focus down to where it is. You know, and when we're facing bad athletes at little league, high school, middle school, college, that they'll make mistakes. You'll get a couple of hits. You'll hit the ball hard. At the big league level, you know, this is the best of the best. So that once they see you got a weakness, they're going to attack that. They're just going to stay on it.
1-2 on Tulowitzki with 2 aboard. No score in the second. Strike 3 on Troy.
See, but what happened there was he spun a lot of fastballs. I mean, a lot of sliders at him. Ran one heater up into the strike zone. And then he just paints this outside corner. He really got up on top and drove that fastball to the outside corner. Troy's up on top of the plate. Could have been a little bit off of the plate, but yet strike 3. When you got 2 strikes on you, protect.
So Torrealba will take his turn. 5 strikeouts for Godin. His season high is 6. He's recorded every out on his own. A little more velocity, George, than I remember also.
Yeah, you know, I saw 88-91 his last, checking some reports. He's been up to this velocity, but to show it consistently like he has in this game.
Don Baylor, Troy Tulowitzki. One of the things that Don Baylor told Troy early on in spring training, he said, you're an all-star for me. I know last year the first half he struggled. He was good in the second half. That's down low, 1-1. But he said, you're an all-star hitter for me. You're an all-star defender. You're an all-star player for me. And it was Don's way of, not that he's lying to him, he's not. But he pumping a young guy up again to get his confidence where it needs to be.
And you know what? After the way he played the second half of the season, I'm not sure it needed that much pumping up. Because he was one of the best fielding shortstops, highest batting average shortstop in the National League in the second half of the season once he was healthy. I think what Don Baylor does is he can get inside of a pitcher's mind and tell you what he thinks or how he thinks they're going to work you as a batter. Charlie Lyle was like that. You know, Billy Williams was like that. Guys that I was around, they would tell you, all right, first time up he's going to do this, but nobody on, with somebody on he's going to do this. Big numbers. His career, that second half numbers, they're just gigantic for Troy Tulowitzki.
2-2 on Torrealba, and he's gone. Once again, Godin strikes out the side. This time there are 2 men left aboard, Hop and Stewart. 1 and 2 in the Padres lineup. De La Rosa's been terrific, and Godin has been terrific so far. Along with George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman, and we have a couple of guests we want to tell you about. Up in the booth, Wayne, that's the dad, and Blake Rayburn. Blake, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Doing well. You enjoying the ball game so far?
Uh-huh.
Did you stay up late last night and watch that Rockies finish?
Yeah.
You did. That's pretty good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are you doing up so late? I couldn't stay up that late when I was your age.
I'm watching the Rockies win. That's what I'm doing.
That's a great fan.
Little high fives going on.
Well, this is part of a campaign we have going along with a lot of other folks. Responsible fatherhood. And Wayne, I know you're a good dad, and you brought your son to the ball game today. You have a question for us, don't you, Blake?
Yeah.
What's your question?
Who's your favorite player? Ask him.
Godin fouls it off. Go ahead, ask George.
Who's your favorite player growing up?
Who's my favorite player growing up? How about if I ask myself the question? Is that better? Yeah. Okay, I agree. You know what? A guy you don't know, Bob Gibson, was a great, I thought, a great player and a great pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals growing up. Who's your favorite player? Huh?
Troy.
Troy?
Mm-hmm.
Troy Tulowitzki?
Mm-hmm.
Play shortstop?
Mm-hmm.
Have you got the Tulo thing down? Can you do that? When they pound the table and go Tulo and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe you might.
Here's a bloop to Clint Barmas. Godin is retired. Well, Wayne and Blake, we appreciate you coming by. My favorite player growing up was a guy by the name of Tom Seaver, who used to hook up all the time with George's favorite player, Bob Gibson. They were two of the best pitchers in baseball in the late 60s and the 70s, and both are now in Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame. You ever been to Cooperstown? You watch. Dad's going to take you one day.
Hey, wait a minute. You're left-handed?
Yeah.
Can I be your agent, please? In about 10 years, I want to be your agent.
Yeah.
If you're left-handed, throwing that hard heater, huh? Atta baby.
There you go. Hey, guys, thanks for coming by. Enjoy the rest of the ball game.
Thank you.
You betcha. That's Wayne and Blake Rayburn, and this is going to drop in front of Ian Stewart, a base hit for Tony Gwynn. So with one out, second hit of the ball game for the Padres. So a guy who can run a bit at first base. David Eckstein coming up. Eckstein hit a fly ball to right his first time. Gwynn in AAA this year, George, with Milwaukee, was stealing a lot of bases.
Well, he was. And again, it's one of those guys that has that chance to go out and do that because of his speed. His dad had pretty good speed as a young player. That's a great trade for the Padres. Bring Tony's son back. And he's a pretty good baseball player.
0-1 on Eckstein. He looks down at third base, Glenn Hoffman. See if anything's on here. Down the right field line. That is a fair ball. Gwynn's going to get to third base. Hop has it back into Barmas, and it actually skips under his glove. That's why you have a double cutoff. I know all you little leaguers out there, and we featured so many of them yesterday, will understand it. That's why you have a double cutoff right there, Frazier.
Well, it is. I mean, that's the backup part of it. Also, if you overshoot even on that, this comes under the ground of Barmas's glove. But if you overthrow Barmas, which you want your strongest arm out closest to your outfielder so he can utilize that to get the play to the plate. But the second guy back is a guy that's backing up that throw and making sure it doesn't get by him also once it blows by the first one. Yeah, there's another look at it. Hop has to play it off of that little nook and cranny down there, and then sees it skipped underneath his glove, helped right in line with able to pick that thing off.
You know, the first pitch to Hairston is popped up. Barmas territory. 2 outs. first test for De La Rosa in this ball game, and he's got Hairston. Now he has to deal with Adrian Gonzalez, who he struck out back in the first inning. Willie Stargell, our Geico quote of the day: nobody ever said work ball, they say play ball. To me, that means having fun. We touched on that. Clint Hurdle was fond of saying the same thing. And Jim Tracy, in his opening statements when he took over for Clint a couple of days ago, George, he said, I told the guys, listen, I want you to have fun. I want the clubhouse to be upbeat. I want you to be smiling during batting practice. When you're taking your ground balls, enjoy it. He goes, and then at 7:05, or in this case 7:10 here at Coors Field, when you get ready to go, play with a chip on your shoulder, play with an edge.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think right now, if you're sitting at home going, all right, Kuzmanov's hitting .219, not the same hitter as Adrian Gonzalez. But what is the one thing that De La Rosa's had trouble with? Working himself out of trouble in innings. And I think, you know what? I think Jimmy, because I saw he and Tommy Runnels sitting there talking, and I think total speculation, folks. But you know what? Do you want to walk him? No. You know what? I'm going to make De La Rosa work out of this. I'm going to make him throw to the left-hander, their best hitter in the lineup, their best guy. If he gets a hit, okay. But you know what? I'm going to make him beat us. And he said De La Rosa got him, made him look pretty silly first time up on a hard slider away. He worked ahead in the count. He's ahead now 0-2. Let's make the kid work his way out of an inning. Instead of trying to create outs for him, let him get his own outs.
George, I could not agree with you more. And not only did he have a great sequence against Gonzalez the first time, but you don't want to add traffic with Jorge's reputation for sometimes lacking command and being his own worst enemy. Plus, fellow countrymen here, a little more at stake personally. This ball's hit well to left, though, and Gonzalez has done it again. Pitch out over the plate on 0-2, and Adrian Gonzalez has hit his second 3-run home run in as many ball games. And George, he hit it to left field yesterday.
Yeah, he did. You know what, Drew? When I looked at Torrealba, he set up inside and then moved out late. He moved out late to the outer half. As soon as he did it, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I bet he's going with the big sweeper, and he's going to give him 3 shots to get him out with this hard slider out here. See Torrealba? Now he's going to slide all the way to the outer half of the plate. Freeze on contact. See where this pitch is? It's here. Look at Torrealba's arm reach back almost a foot, foot and a half. He wanted that ball completely off the plate, and De La Rosa caught too much of the plate and elevated it. On the Hyundai cam, you're going to even see it a little bit more. Now watch Torrealba, folks. Watch how far he reaches back. He's wanting the ball on this outside corner, and you're here. It's almost a 2-foot miss by De La Rosa. That's why I said, in my mind, with De La Rosa, Drew, is make him spin the breaking ball away from him versus trying to, do too much with the fastball, overpower it, and leave it out over the plate.
Adrian Gonzalez 3 ahead of Raul Ibanez. He's playing in the National League with the Philadelphia Phillies for the first time. Kind of a contrast. You can't take anything away from the year Ibanez has had, but he is playing at one of the most home run friendly parks in baseball, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. And the home games for the Padres come at the most unfriendly offensive yard, and that's Petco. Kuzmanov is a strikeout victim, but in the inning, a 3-run home run from Adrian Gonzalez, his 20th of the year. He's got 40 RBIs now. with a 3-run home run against Jorge De La Rosa. And it's 3-0 San Diego. Here's De La Rosa against Godin. And that fastball's down in. Godin has recorded 6 outs, all via strikeout, which matches his season high this year. De La Rosa looking for his 2nd knock of the year. And that's in there for a strike. Sometimes you miss location, George, and as you suggest, sometimes, in a perfect world, you say, man, I'd like that pitch back, or maybe I would have gone to a different pitch. As you said, maybe spin it with Adrian Gonzalez behind 0-2.
One of the things, Drew, that I learned a long time ago, and it was from listening to guys like Gaylord Perry and even Bob Gibson when he'd come around to spring training. If you're going to get beat or you're going to give up runs in a crucial situation, then you better do it with the best pitch at that time. Sam saying spitter for me. It was. But to make sure that pitch is what you go at him with. And you just really made him look pretty foolish on a slider, hard slider at 84 miles an hour. Easy to look back, easy to try to bring it back. If he swings and misses, we're all high-fiving.
And De La Rosa getting a little bit of a rough ride for not running hard up the line. The ball was bobbled by Godin. Today's E470 Road Ahead is brought to you by E470 and Express Toll, the best way to save time and money. Rockies off on the road after this afternoon's ball game. 4 in Houston, 4 in St. Louis. One of those strange ones, George, because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Usually Sunday's a travel day, and then it's off to Milwaukee for 3 games.
Well, St. Louis very hyped up this year. The All-Star game is coming to the Busch Stadium. I would still call it Busch Stadium, but
that's what it's called.
Yeah, Busch Stadium downtown.
The new Busch Stadium.
Yeah, new Busch Stadium. Head down there, so that's a lot of excitement in the city as that gets closer and closer. And he's got Tony La Russa's done a pretty nice job with the baseball team again.
He has had a lot of success, has he not, over the years, whether it was with the White Sox or the A's or the St. Louis Cardinals. 41 pitches now for Godin. He's thrown only 11 balls. 0-2, and there's his 12. 1-2 on Dexter Fowler. And hopefully the second time through, the Rockies start figuring out Godin. In his last outing, Godin got beat up by the Diamondbacks. 7 runs in 5 1/3. He also walked 5. That's what the amazing thing is. Talking to some people with the Padres, they said, his control's been really shaky. All he's done is throwing strike after strike.
1 walk, 6 punch outs in the game. Worked ahead in the count the whole time. Hey, Wells Fargo customers, enjoy Colorado Rockies baseball in style with a special Wells Fargo offer. 2-for-1 club level seats. Visit wellsfargo.com/Rockies for all of the details.
Clint Barm is 2 outs, nobody on. The Rockies yesterday came from 3 runs down to win. It matched a season best in terms of comeback from runs down. They beat Arizona earlier this year when they were down by 3 runs. This is in the air to right field. Tony Gwynn with a beat on it. And he makes the catch. 1-2-3 third inning for Chad Godin. The Padres leading 3-0 as we move on to the 4th. Jorge De La Rosa. Here comes the dunk. Our Affleck trivia question. Who are the 3 Padres to have back-to-back 30 home run seasons? You know, it's not just at Petco. We keep talking about Petco being a pitcher's park. When Qualcomm was called Jack Murphy Stadium, there weren't a lot of home runs there either. You know, one slugger I remember, I always mention this, George, when I was growing up with the Padres, Nate Colbert. He was the guy who hit the ball out. Nobody else.
Well, he was a guy, and then later on, you know, Winfield hit a few home runs there.
Yeah, but
not like he did. Not 35, you know, 30 big-time home run hitter. But Winfield was a pretty good home run hitter in that ballpark, too.
Of course, Dave hit more than 400 in his Hall of Fame career. Chase Headley from Colorado Springs takes a strike from De La Rosa. You know, if you're Jorge, one of the things he has trouble doing is forgetting and moving on. He made one bad pitch. Yeah, it cost him 3 runs. But other than that, he's been outstanding. And he's got to remember the good, George.
Well, you have to, and that's hard to do sometimes when you go out. And it basically had been no-hit stuff. He gave up a single to Harrison, and that was an infield single in the first inning. Other than that, nothing. Then all of a sudden, single, double, home run. To go back, the important thing is this offense starting to click for whatever reason it is. Shut it down. Give your offense a chance to jump back into this thing. I mean, you can steadily see the decline here. And with the innings, hits, and particularly right here with those walks. Sorry, folks. 5 and 2 and 7 walks in the last 2 innings over 7 innings.
But if you didn't watch those games, if you just look at the numbers we put up, you say, oh, man, he was awful against Atlanta. He lasted just 3 2/3. Same thing against the Dodgers. 7 runs against the Dodgers in less than 4 innings. That's terrible. Well, guess what? The first 3 innings, you couldn't touch him. He had 6 strikeouts. There was maybe 1 hit in there. And then it just all fell apart. He's got to say, all right, on the swing, I've got great stuff. I made 1 mistake. We move on. The offense is going to help me out.
It all gets magnified, I think, too, when you're not winning a lot of ball games. That happens, or you put consecutive starts together like that. Made a great pitch right here. I mean, look at this. It just bottom going to fall out of this hard slider at 82 for the 5th punch out of the ball game. And see where this pitch starts here and dives here. So as a hitter, you look at it and think fastball, and once you commit, you can't stop the swing. You got the punch out.
Henry Blanco walked his first time up on a 3-2 pitch. And Blanco hits 1 to third. Atkins will throw out Henry. 2 gone. Josh Wilson coming up. We go downstairs again to visit with Mark Stout. Mark.
All right, thank you, Drew. This date in history brought to you by Dex. We go back to 1977, May 31st. Joe Torre manages first game with the Mets. He was a player manager then. And he gets the win 6-2 in New York at Shea Stadium. Here's the interesting fact about it. Bob Apodaca came in and got the save in that game against Montreal. I talked to Dak. He threw 5 outs. The last batter was Andre Dawson, who would be the Rookie of the Year in 1977. And I said to Dak today, I said, do you remember what you threw him? He goes, says, like yesterday. Threw him a slider, wanted it to be a ball. It was a strike, but he swung through it, and I got the save. And he said, Skip Lockwood, you may remember that name, Drew, was the closer then for the Mets. But Torre called down to the bullpen, and Rube Walker was the pitching coach and said, guess what, Apodaca, you're in for the save. It was his first save of that year in 77. So that was 32 years ago today, guys.
I do remember Skip Lockwood. Yeah. My memory's right. I think he wore number 39.
Well, you don't have to say that it was 32 years ago. Just say that it was a long time ago. I think that's Bob was a very good pitcher. Had a good breaking ball, had a good command of a fastball. And then if you get to know him and get to shake his hand, look on his right elbow. He's got a pretty lengthy zipper over there where he had surgery and just never came back from it. That ate him up in his career.
Bob, because, you know, both Mark and I grew up in the New York area. Bob had great stuff. You're right, George. Before he got hurt, he had tremendous stuff. Here's the 3-1 on Josh Wilson, and this ball's lined to left. This will be a double in all likelihood. And Stewart plays it back in, so a 2-out double for Wilson. Chad Godin coming up, still looking for his first hit this year.
Well, he is. Let's look at this fastball. I mean, Toriyama basically sat right up in the middle of the plate waiting on it. Appeared to cut down and in on Wilson, and he just jerked it down the left field line. Just off to the races in the scoring position at second with 2 outs, but a pitcher at the plate and got it and go down.
You know, Wilson earlier this year was with the Diamondback organization. George, is it just me, or does it seem like the last few years Arizona and San Diego do a lot of dealings together, which is
a lot of
unusual.
dealings, releases,
inside...
pickup. I mean, it's unusual because it's inside the division.
Yeah.
But a lot of times guys form relationships with general managers, and you know, they get guys like a Wilson that's been bounced around a little bit. They may have a need at for shortstop, not only at the big league level but AAA level. And so what ends up happening, a lot of times you don't want to hinder the player. So what you do is you make a move to where maybe he gets an opportunity to get some time in the big leagues.
Time for today's Quest high-speed pitch. All right, our two starters both feeling good today. De La Rosa's hit 95. Godin has hit 94. That's brought to you by Quest high-speed internet.
I just went next door and talked to Mark Grant, their announcer, and I said, uh-oh. Yeah, nice play by Barney over the backhand of the baseball, getting the first. He said, you know what, Darren Balsley doesn't get enough credit as pitching coach for the Padres to fix a few guys like Godin and get great results out of it.
He's had great results so far in this ball game. Godin and the Padres shutting out the Rockies 3-0. Helton Atkins and Hop next inning. Baseball on FSN is brought to you by your Colorado Hyundai dealers, and this May's only Hyundai Can Say sales event. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex in print and online at dexknows.com. And by Burt Toyota, where the Tacoma is less than $24,000. George, I don't know how often you get up to Boulder, but that's Pearl Street Mall, walking mall up in the heart of Boulder, Colorado.
I actually played for Baldy Moschetti. They won the national title in 75 as I played up there and lived there. And one of my favorite places was Boulder Falls. I used to go up there all the time. It was gorgeous. I'd drive up there, it seemed like 3 or 4 times a week and just kind of hang out.
I forgot you played for Baldy in the collegiates. Here's Todd Helton leading off against Chad Godin, and the first pitch is fouled off. Todd saw 3 pitches his first time up. The first 2 were called strikes, and the third fastball he swung through.
Mr. Campbell, Buzz Campbell, was my pitching coach at the time. That was a fun team. Ricky Peters, Bobby Pate.
And this ball is hooked to Adrian Gonzalez. 1 out. Garrett Atkins coming up. Here's the Duck with our Affleck question once again. We're going to provide you with the answer. Who are the 3 Padres to have back-to-back 30 home run seasons? The guy just fielding things at first base is one of them. It looks like, George, he's going to have a 3rd straight since he has 20 already. Adrian Gonzalez. The crime dog, Fred McGriff, and your old friend Phil Nevin.
Yeah, you know, and seeing Phil's name up there on that, is that a little surprising maybe for Phil to see his name up? Relaxed now, doing a little radio show in San Diego. Enjoying retirement with the kids.
Let me guess, that radio show has a little edge to it.
A little bit.
That was Phil when he played. And quickly, 2 strikes. I mean, this is unbelievable. You might as well just say, all right, it's a 2-strike count. We'll go from there. Godin filling up the strike zone. And guys are uncomfortable, George, because they're not firing at anything. It's all called strikes.
Well, watch his arm come out. It stays pretty good right on that body line. When I'm talking about when it falls out, folks, it stays right kind of hidden behind the rib cage area and that back leg. Then all of a sudden, everything speeds up. And I say this all the time. When you get over the rubber and the hands separate, put the gas on, well, he's putting it on. I mean, he's really balanced coming to the plate.
Brad Hopp has the only hit, and then he plunked Ian Stewart. And that's strike 3. And, you know, no argument from Atkins. He just walks off. They're not picking up the baseball.
Well, a lot of it's the delivery of where he's hiding the baseball. A lot of it's his confusion of the counts of what he's done. See, very quiet. The hands come over the head up here on top. Everything's very balanced right there. Everything gets very balanced. And then as he starts to come to the plate, see all of this comes around, and then here comes the baseball. So they're just not picking it up on him, and he's doing a nice job with it and allowing his arm to get in a good position.
7 strikeouts, a season high. 2 outs in the 4th inning. That's remarkable. Firestone League leaderboards, and we're looking at multi-hit game leaders for the Rockies. It's just for the Rockies. Hilton's got 18 of them. Brad Hopp 13. Dexter Fowler 3rd with 11. Hopp had a multi-hit game last night. He had 3 hits, in fact. And he's already got 1 today. That's a strike, and it's 0-2. There's some days you go in the clubhouse after the ball game and you'll ask guys to say, hey, man, there was a glare out there. Nobody could pick up the baseball.
Well, I think part of this thing here is this guy right here, sitting behind the plate. Folks, if you're sitting at home watching this ball game, watch how he receives the baseball and moves back there, how quiet he is. See that? I mean, he barely saw the hand move up to catch the baseball. Godin gets another strikeout.
This is remarkable because this is not what he normally does. He's a sinker slider guy. You see a lot of contact. 8 strikeouts. Padres up 3-0. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. 3-0 San Diego on a 3-run blast by Adrian Gonzalez. Who else? Tony Gwynn, the leadoff hitter against De La Rosa, and he bunts it up in the air, and that's the easiest play De La Rosa's going to have maybe all season. Soft cookie right back to him.
Those are so much fun to get. Particularly, when you're going out and you're getting to the top of their lineup and you're saying you want to get this first out no matter what, and then the guy does you a little bit of favor, works underneath the baseball, allows you to get that. Now, you remember Gwynn had a pretty good bunt the other day. They pulled up the first baseline. Not so successful there. 1 out.
One out, David Eckstein, who doubled his last time up and came around on the home run by Gonzalez, takes a strike. Okay, another pattern, George, that has got to end at some point. And that's when De La Rosa's on the mound. The offense takes a day off.
Yeah, every time there's one guy on the roster, I think you look around at right now, top 5 least amount of run support for a team, and what those records are with it. Be kind of surprised maybe a little bit on some of the names there, who they are and what they do. I mean, Zito right now is pitching really great for San Francisco, yet they doesn't have a lot to show for it because they're only averaging a little over 2 runs per start. De La Rosa third on that list. Correa in San Diego.
Remember how good Herron's been, especially early in the year. Three and one. So this is where I guarantee in De La Rosa's mind, he realizes if he gets a 1-2-3 inning, he has Gonzalez leading off as opposed to dealing with Gonzalez with some traffic.
Well, that maturity side of the thing, who's in the on-deck circle, Harrison, who's right behind him. He knows where he is in the rotation. Knows exactly where he is. That big guy sitting in the dugout waiting to get into the on-deck circle in Gonzalez.
On the ground is short. Cutting it off up the middle is Tulowitzki, and he gets Eckstein by a couple of steps. National League leader in fielding percentage and chances, Troy Tulowitzki. Hey fans, feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. We do this every day. If the Rockies do as they did last night, score 7 or more, go to Taco Bell between 4 and 6 the following day and get 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. So make sure you do that this afternoon. Rockies won 8-7 last night. Great come from behind win in the 9th inning. Head to all Colorado Taco Bell locations. Scott Hairston, an infield hit and a pop to second. You want to hear about a good high school baseball team, George? I mean, a really good high school team. Now, you played on one in Springfield, Missouri growing up. I mean, half your team got signed to professional contracts. But here's another one. Del Oro High School in Tucson. Senior year for Scott Hairston. He moves with his family. Jerry's been in baseball forever, his dad. They moved down to Tucson. They're with the White Sox organization. Here's the 2-0. And it's 3-0. So your first baseman on that high school team is Chris Duncan, Dave Duncan's son. Your second baseman's Ian Kinsler. Last time I checked, he's pretty good, right?
Not bad at all.
Right. Your shortstop, Scott Hairston. Your center fielder's Brian Anderson, who's with the White Sox, former #1 pick of the White Sox out of the University of Arizona. That's 4 guys.
Amazing. Not just 4 guys that got to the big leagues, but 4 guys that are very impact good players at the big league level.
Yeah. Unreal. So I said to Scott as Adrian Gonzalez steps in, I said, you guys won the state title, right? He said, man, we should have.
Well, that's the whole thing. Great hitters. You still lose a lot of games 15-14. Sometimes if you don't have the pitching to go along with it, it's not, that's the thing about it.
I asked him, I said, did you pitch? He said, no, I just played short. He said Brian pitched a little bit, talking about Brian Anderson. You'd think these guys would have been at least part-timers on the mound. There's a strike on Gonzalez. His 3-run home run in his last at bat came on an 0-2 fastball out over the plate. Jorge obviously missed location with it. He had Gonzalez set up. Here's the 0-1.
Well, he's having a pretty good road trip. 4 home runs, 10 RBIs out on the road this time. Fastball up, out over the plate. Big swing. I mean, he doesn't get intimidated by the hard-throwing left-handers. That's obvious.
He's a real steady guy. Here goes Hairston at first. Here's the throw by Torrey Alvin. Scott steals it easily. Went first movement on De La Rosa. Scouting report, George?
6 stolen base. on Harrison out at second base. He got some pretty good wheels there, and he stole this base with a high leg kick from De La Rosa, an inside fastball, then the exchange by Torrealba over the top. But when that base was stolen, it was stolen on De La Rosa with the high leg kick and not many throws to first base.
Well, now do you put him on?
You know what? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to tell him go get him. I really am. It's a 2-1 count right now. Torrealba's going to make the pitch he needs to make right here. Maybe you learned your lesson from the last at bat.
Well, the guy on deck you've handled twice, Kevin Kuzminoff.
Yeah, you have.
You know, we like Kevin. He's a kid from Colorado, but he's struggling right now, George. He's 2 for 20 on this road trip. 3-1 now. Now you got to pass on, don't you?
Well, he tried to throw the slider there, and he just worked completely under it at 84 miles an hour. Didn't go anywhere where Torrealba wanted to put it. That may have been part of the problem in the first side of this thing. Torrealba asked for it immediately down, gave the changeup sign.
Well, he kept it beneath the strike zone, so De La Rosa walks Gonzalez. Kuzminoff coming up. There are 2 outs. Kuzminoff in the ball game, a fly ball to left field and a strikeout.
Second straight day, Coors Field. Good crowds here to watch these 2 ball clubs play. I mean, it is a neat crowd to look out and see the rock pile, left center field, up and down the lower bowls. A lot of people up in the third deck watching some Rockies baseball on a beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Kuzminoff's 2 hits on the road trip came in Arizona. He's 0 for 10 here at Coors Field over the last 2.5 days, and he's behind 0-1. Does own a home run against De La Rosa. And now he's behind 0-2.
Hey, if you're looking for a great place to entertain, Coors Field, that's the place. You can get one of these suites. They even got a buy one, get one free. 303-312-2444. There they are. Beautiful. Gorgeous. To watch the ballpark. Watch the game here. Pretty neat is what they are.
Yeah. And Kuzminoff hits this well to left field. And it short hops the wall at the 390 mark. Hairston scores. Gonzalez gets a green light. Here's the throw to the plate. It's in time, and Gonzalez is out. Strong throw from Troy Tulowitzki. Kuzminoff doubles in 1 to make it 4-0. But the Rockies relay cuts down the 5th run. And the Rockies now down by a 4 spot. Great throw by Tulo. Your Torrealba to face Chad Godin, who's had the best stuff he's had all year today. Got 8 strikeouts in 4 innings.
Career high 11 strikeouts, and that came in 2007, excuse me. On his strikeouts, it came against the Los Angeles Angels when he was with the Oakland at the end of the season, September 30th.
Sliding over, Chase Headley to make the catch. 1 out. That'll bring up Tulowitzki. Time to check in again with Mark Stott. Mark.
All right, Drew, let's get you the XL Energy fun fact of the game, but it's about David Eckstein of the Padres. Of course, he was in the postseason with the Angels and in the World Series with the Cardinals when he won the MVP award. You know what he was given? How about a Corvette from Chevrolet? Here's the problem, though. Doesn't drive a stick, so he had to give it away. He gave it to his brother, Rick. And if you know baseball, his brother is now the batting coach for the Nationals and was the hitting coach for Team USA that Dexter Fowler was on last year in the Olympics in Beijing. And I asked him today, he said, yep, Rick's still driving it out there in D.C. So he's got the vet.
We saw David this morning. I didn't realize that's what you were talking to him about. How about that's a nice gesture. Give it to your brother. I like that. That's
I don't
fine.
think he really wanted to do that because he didn't know how to drive a stick.
Well, how
shift.
about you can learn, can't you? Did you ask him that?
You figure a guy from Florida would figure that out and be able to, you know, take it down 95 in South Florida and open it up a little bit.
There's a 1-1 on Tulowitzki.
Maybe ask Chevrolet if you could get us automatic.
Yeah, he should have switched up to like a Malibu or something.
Yep, Jason Gurley's starting to throw for the Rockies down there. That's as he worked down to the bottom of the lineup. Use a pinch hitter for De La Rosa.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Tulowitzki. That frozen on a fastball in the outside corner in the 2nd inning. And a bullet back up the middle. So Tulo with a solid single. Just the Rockies' 2nd hit. Brad Hopp has the other one.
Well, I want to show you something on that strikeout. The ball, Drew said, froze on the outside corner. Hold it there. Look at this ball. Now go ahead and let it roll, guys. As it comes across the plate, look at the mistake. Right here, Tulowitzki made him pay for it because he got a ball out in the middle of the plate. On the Hyundai cam, watch out. Henry's hand starts to come back to catch this baseball. Tulo just squared it up to center field for a base hit, a 1-out base hit.
Torrealba, big swing and a miss.
Yeah, he was looking slider there. That ball got by him in a hurry.
Frage, how about that ball game last night in college baseball between the University of Texas and Boston College? This is, on the road to the College World Series in a regional. 25 innings. Longest game in NCAA history. Texas wins it 3-2 over Boston College in the 25th inning on a seeing eye base hit against a drawn-in infield. But that's only part of the story. Texas reliever Austin Wood pitched 12 1/3 innings of no-hit ball and then allowed a base hit in the 19th. Torrealba gets a hit here. He came out of the pen like he used to do, and he went 12 1/3, no hits, aluminum bats.
Yeah, how about that? De La Rosa, excuse me, Drew, but De La Rosa's been way back to the dugout. Seth Smith's coming out. The thing that bothered me all about the Texas thing, both of those guys that threw all those innings yesterday had thrown 2 innings of relief on Friday night. Each had thrown over 40 pitches from the reports I got from scouts. And yet you run them back out there for that time frame. And I know they're getting guys out, but at some point you also got to take into consideration a young man's future in the game of baseball.
He threw 169 pitches. 120 for strikes. Conference at the mound. De La Rosa is gone after 5 innings, trailing 4-0. Seth Smith, as George mentioned, will pinch hit. Grilly apparently will be next. If your windshield's chipped or cracked, please call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, or visit safelite.com. So Smith, the Rockies' premier pinch hitter, utilized here in the 5th inning. Now there's just 2 left-handed options on the bench for the Rockies this afternoon. Smith and defensive infield specialist Omar Quintanilla. One and one. Smith has reached in 10 of 19 plate appearances this year as a pinch hitter. That was a borderline pitch. Smith looks back, didn't like the call. 1-2.
Well, let's take a look at it now. You got to understand, we're a little bit off-centered. I don't know that it was that far off of the plate. It may have been down a little bit. But again, I've emphasized this throughout the whole game to watch Henry Blanco behind the plate, just receiving the baseball. Working counts, working hitters.
That was close. 2-2.
Really close.
And you and I both looked at each other. I mean, Godin has either thrown a strike or been right there on the borderline of a strike throughout this ball game. 2 on for the Rockies, 1 out, trailing 4-0. That's another pitch that just missed. 3-2. Well, Smith walks a lot also. He has a good eye. And Smith leads the club in walks with 23, tied with Tulowitzki. Dexter Fowler next with 22 walks. Usually that's the domain of Helton.
Yeah, and he's only had 2 3-ball counts in this game. Talking about Godin. So he's in not real familiar territory. Put everybody in motion. Stay out of the double play ball.
Here's the 3-2 again. Runners again moving. Strike 3, and out at third base is Tulowitzki. So Smith is frozen on a fastball. Easy pickings for Henry Blanco, firing to Kevin Kuzminoff. Promising inning turns bad. 4-0 Padres. Fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Colorado Rockies. By the Great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. And by Searchlight Channel 888 on your Comcast remote for real estate, automotive, careers, and more. Pretty day on the Front Range. The score not so pretty right now. The Padres ahead 4-0, trying to salvage 1 of 3 against the Rockies. George Frazier and Mark Stout alongside Drew Goodman. And Jason Grilli takes over. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Comcast. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Grilli will face Headley, Blanco, and Wilson. And a slider for a strike. George, in baseball, the saying goes, all the momentum you have comes down to the starting pitcher the following day.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, and I think too, it's just for me. If they're believing they're going to win, you get that feeling from them. And when they get into trouble, they're going to get out of trouble, and they, you know, all those things that go into it just gives confidence to a team. But you're right. You're only as good as your pitching staff's going to allow you to be as a ball club from day to day, day in and day out.
Yeah, as much momentum as the pitcher the following day. And what you hope, and Jim Tracy's talked about this has popped up. Atkins, Tulowitzki will call him off and make the play in foul ground. So Headley's retired. That'll bring up Henry Blanco. But Tracy's saying that's where the starting pitcher the next day, not that he doesn't want to do well every time he gets the baseball, but he has to say, man, that club battled back last night. Great win. I really got to step forward. I have to do my part.
I think so, but I think too at the reverse of that, and I understand what Jim Tracy's saying and understand it fully, but the reverse of that is last night we got beat a tough 1-0 ball game. We need to come back. I need to come and give him, you know what I'm saying? Today it's just a reverse of that, and talking about your momentum and what went on in the dog pile at home plate and all that. I think the hard part in baseball, and it is hard, folks, take it any way you want to. You say at home while they're playing a kids game, but you go out there 162 nights that, yeah, you're going to have ups and downs, and it's hard not stay even keel when you're trying to play the game because of just what you're talking about. Big hit at the end of the game last night. It was huge. You know, the dog pile. Everybody's feeling great. 8 hours later, you're down 4-0. You know, it could take the fun out of it pretty quick. So I think that's why it's so important. And just kind of stay on an even keel, not get too high, not get too low.
Blanco out front.
And I hope Grilli does just what he did, what Fogg did yesterday, give you a couple of shutout innings, and allow this offense to figure Godin out before they get down to their bullpen.
Well, there's something about his delivery today. Chad Godin. Rockies have taken a lot of strikes, a lot of third strikes.
Hides it pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just not picking up the baseball. You know, you may be at home saying, well, how come San Diego didn't have problems picking up De La Rosa's delivery? Well, you know, it's coming out of a different arm slot.
Yeah, different arm slots, different deliveries. The ball, I noticed too. And to track it, if you had, there's a thing out there called pitch tracks. There's a inside edge that will tell you exactly how many pitches were thrown down in the zone, up in the zone, mid zone. And they have red dots of where they're throwing for fastball and slider. And I can tell you now, Godin's not gotten many balls above the knees this entire day.
Josh Wilson with a 2-out base knock. That'll bring up Godin.
Second time that he's flipped the lineup. Double in the previous inning, or excuse me, back in the 4th inning, and then here a single to get the pitcher up and out of the way.
Godin. He's hit the ball to Clint Barmas twice, once in the air, once on the ground. Strike one. And this is going to drop in front of Dexter Fowler. Dexter overruns it momentarily. No advancement from Josh Wilson. So Godin with his first base hit in a Padres uniform. And now they're 2 on for Tony Gwynn.
Just a fisted shot out into center field. You know, Dexter's playing very shallow. The ball never got elevated up in the air to give Dexter a chance to run under it. So Tony Gwynn Jr. a base hit back into third. And, popped up to De La Rosa trying to bunt a baseball. Runner out at second. Torey Alba, Jason Grilli making sure they had what they want to do consistently.
Gwynn a strikeout, a single, and he tried to bunt his way on and punched it in the air right to De La Rosa. 2 on, 2 outs, and Grilli hits the strike zone there. Fastball outside, 1-1 on Gwynn. And Tony's dad can talk. He's a coach, Hall of Famer, broadcaster. And the reason I mention that is, George, can you imagine the dinner time conversations now that little Tony's back in San Diego? Well, listen, this is what you need to do offensively. This is what you need to do in that at bat.
You know what, though? I think probably, and I know what you're saying.
Sure.
Obviously, and then Chris Gwynn, Tony's brother, also played in the big league, scout with the Padres on the pro side now, too. As they start to watch and do some things, too. Tony Jr. might not live at the house anymore. He's like 27.
Well, he gets an invitation once in a while. Mom wants to see him.
Maybe. 25 years of this, no, you're done. You're taking us out to dinner is what you're doing. That's right.
Yeah, that may
How
be
does
the case.
that senior do at the regional? His ball club. I know Strasburg, the #1 draft pick in the draft, got beat 5-1 by Virginia.
That's the first time he got beat all year.
Yep.
Sam's looking it up for us.
The 3 teams that he had not pitched well against this year were all 3 teams that had made the tournament.
Is that a red flag for you?
No, not for me. You still see 98 to 100 mile an hour fastball and pretty good command. He didn't walk anybody.
Well, Grilli just walked Gwynn. He got the first 2 men out. He gave up a solid single to Wilson, a soft single to the pitcher Godin, and now the bases are loaded. Eckstein, who you know is going to put it in play, and this has been one of the problems this year for Jason Grilli. If it's not getting the leadoff man out, it's not finishing off innings. And unfortunately, Jason's not alone. He's got company down in that Rockies bullpen. Guys who've had a rough first couple of months. This is the final day of the month of May. It's an empty lot right now in the bullpen, so it's up to Grilli to get Eckstein. 1 for 3, a double. Today, the double for Eckstein was a ball he poked with authority right down the first base line past a diving Todd Helton. Bases loaded. And to your point, that pitch misses badly, Georgia. Keep it a 4-run game. It's not impossible. You get a hit here, and now 6 runs down with 12 outs to work with. It becomes a much taller mountain to climb.
Well, and it gets magnified because you said earlier, Eckstein's at the plate. Gonna put it in play. Typically does. Chokes up a couple inches on that bat to have better back control.
One and 2 on Eckstein. Runner at third base is Josh Wilson. Chad Godin is the runner at second, and Tony Gwynn Jr. the runner at first.
See Torey Alba really signal out to him to finish this pitch. Took his throwing arm, put it out front, and then really finish this thing off.
And this is line to right field. Hop out of position perfectly. So no harm done. The Padres leave the bases loaded in the 6th inning. Rockies trail 4-0. They'll have the top of the order in the bottom half. triple, ribby, couple of doubles. He does the job right most every night. So Clint Barmas, our Job Done Right Player of the Series, presented by the Colorado Association of Mechanical and Plumbing Contractors. To have your next building or service project done right the first time, visit mpccolorado.org. And we'll see Barmas second this inning. Dexter Fowler, Clint Barmas, Todd Helton against Chad Gaudin. Well, George, earlier we said hopefully the second time through will be the charm for the Rockies. Maybe it'll be the third time.
Yeah, I think it's the third time through. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at how many balls were thrown by Gaudin inning by inning. He threw one in the first, one in the fourth. One. He threw one. I mean, that's unbelievable when it comes to the strike side of things. He's only had 2 3-ball counts, and he's had 2 full.
Did you say 4-ball counts?
4-ball counts, yeah. And a couple of flyouts, 3 groundouts, and 9 strikeouts, just 2 shy of his career high that he did against Los Angeles.
Dex tried to bunt his way on. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fowler caught looking and a little comebacker. Rockies have 3 singles. Hop in the second, and then last inning, Tulowitzki and Torrealba back-to-back. But then Smith, the pinch hitter, caught looking as the runners were moving on a 3-2 pitch. Tulowitzki was cut down easily, trying to steal third. You know, Friday night, the Padres had all singles, 6 of them. The Rockies had 4 singles, and they won. Only the 4th time in the history of Major League Baseball in Denver. As there's a base hit for Fowler. Only the 4th time in the history of Major League Baseball in this state since 1993 that a ball game was played where there was not at least 1 extra base hit from either team. Let's check in again with Mark Stapp with this afternoon's great Colorado Payback sideline report. Mark, make it great, Mark.
It's going to be great if you're an Indiana State alum, because Clint Barmas is at the plate, by far the most prolific big leaguer out of Indiana State. There's been 17. There are 2 in the ballpark here tonight. Clint Barmas and Joe Thatcher, who's a relief pitcher for the Padres. Now, Clint, when you look at the numbers, and there's been 17 players from Indiana State in the big leagues, he owns basically half of all the offensive numbers. He's played in 424 games. Wallace Johnson played in 428. And I said to Clint, do you know him? And he said, the only reason why I know his name is because I tied his hitting streak of 30 games when I was at Indiana State, and he only played there his junior year. The most famous Indiana State pitcher, as this is fouled off, and you'll like this name, guys, Zane Smith, who won 100 games in the big leagues. He was 100 and 115. You know, he played for Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Boston, and Montreal.
Left-hander.
So.
Zane Smith is a good pitcher. Tell you something else you might not have known, Mark. Do you know that Frazier and I used to do Missouri Valley Conference baseball together, and we've been to Terre Haute and Indiana State. They had a good baseball program.
They had a very good baseball program there. They sure did. One of the first games doing it, Creighton, Wichita State, Creighton. We see a lot of former and future big leaguers as Drew and I.
Long run for Gwynn. It drops in foul territory. And we saw some great Wichita State teams, some good Creighton teams.
Yep.
You know who played with Wallace Johnson? And I don't remember him. He played 9 seasons, primarily with the Expos in the 80s, was Huey.
Yeah, you know what? Huey played with a lot of guys,
He
though.
did, didn't he? Because I said, yeah, you ever heard Wallace Johnson, India? I said, yeah, first base. But I said, played in a lot of games. And he said, you know what? A lot of pinch hit appearances. That's what he did. That's why he's got 4 more games in the bigs than Clint Barnes.
See, that's why I remembered him as a pinch hitter, because in Montreal in the 80s, they had Warren Cromartie at first base.
0-2 again on Barmas, and he hits this ball to right center field. Hairston and Gwynn, and it'll be Gwynn who makes the catch. Fowler returns to first. So the Sycamore is retired. And that'll bring up the Volunteer. Todd Helton with 1 out. Pitches by inning. There's nothing you can say about Gaudin's effort today for the Padres that doesn't begin with a superlative.
Absolutely. What a tremendous job that he has done, commanding this lineup the Rockies have put on the field today.
Helton, the strikeout and a ground ball to Adrian Gonzalez. Rockies, by virtue of their come from behind win yesterday, have won the series against San Diego. Second time they've won a home series this year. That's unbelievable. And both times it's been the Padres. First time they've won a series, George, in a month at home. Talking a moment ago about the fact that there were no extra base hits Friday. The irony, of course, is yesterday the Rockies tied a season high with 8 extra base hits. 1-1, and this ball deep short. That's a fancy pickup, and it turns into a double play. Gorgeous play by Josh Wilson, who is shaded up the middle. Off the bat, you thought it was going to get into left field. Wilson not only comes with the baseball, a reverse 360, and Eckstein flips it to first. Agents, outstanding results. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, moving forward. There's the Coors Brewery up the road, Golden, Colorado. Padres shutting out the Rockies 4-0 as we turn the page to inning number 7 with George Frazier and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Scott Hairston will lead it off. Second inning of work for Jason Grillet, who worked out of a bases loaded jam last inning. Got the first 2 outs, then gave up 2 hits, walked the batter, got Eckstein to hit a fly ball to right. Hairston a single, a pop out, and a walk. This is in the air to right center field. Well struck. Pop going back, and he leaps at the wall. It's gone. Scott Hairston has hit another home run. He hit one last night in the 9th inning that looked like it was going to be a game winner. He has just hit his 7th of the year. It is 5-0 San Diego. He's strong.
Very strong, and a very good bat that stays in the line. And watch how long this ball is. That ball's away from him and a little bit up. And on the Hyundai cam, you can see he's going to drive this thing right center field. You know, Coors Field or no Coors Field, this kid's strong. He drove that ball, the ball to center field last night. Pop's going to try to time his leap to have an opportunity at the ball. Just comes up a little bit short at the wall. Another base hit, back up the middle. It's one of those deals as a manager, you can't get the bullpen going quick enough to try to get it, to preserve it where it is right now, down 5.
Gonzalez aboard for Kuzminov. Nobody out in the 7th inning. 10 hits for the Padres. 10 hits for the light hitting Padres typically. Just 4 for the Rockies. They're on again, off again offense. Not been on today. Kuzminov takes a strike. Kevin an RBI double in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3. That's his only hit in the series.
You see Peralta, he's starting to get loose down in the Rockies bullpen. The pitcher due up 4 or 5 hitters away before you get down to him. But I mean, you know what? For the Rockies to win this year, folks, they've got to get Jason Grilli straightened out. And he's got to be a guy that can come in and do it. He's got the ball up a little bit in the strike zone. That's not his niche. Hard sinkers, good sliders down in the strike zone. A little bit of a mechanical issue. Is he getting his hand out of the glove late? Is he getting on top of the ball, driving in a downward plane?
Yeah, last year he was so good after that trade from Detroit. Had a career best 69 strikeouts last year. He had a 2.93 ERA, 3-2 for Colorado after the trade. But he's had a real uneven year so far this year. Lefties, George, coming into the ball game, we're hitting 393 against him.
Well, 11 games in April. I mean, again, that's a 108 earned run average. All of that good in April is getting covered up by the last 5 or 6 ball games with an ERA around 11.
And he gives up another base hit. 5 hits allowed in a little more than an inning worth of work. And now you're going to have Torrealba probably go out and stall. Here comes Helton with the stall. And Peralta, you know, he's getting it, George. He's standing on the rubber down in that bullpen. He's firing again.
Well, you got to. I mean, you got to remember, you get it loose down there as fast as you possibly can. You know, it's kind of like a lifeboat. You're sitting out here seeing the guys on a lifeboat out in the middle of the infield. They need the bullpen to get loose to get them out. Man, we used to fire quick. Come out there and get him out of there. Everybody knows it might not be his day today or his week. So go out and just get after it and try to bring him back into it.
You know, the guys in the bullpen, George, I mean, that's your buddy out there. So, I mean, it's not,
that's right.
You're rooting for him.
Yep. I mean, you got teammates, and then you got teammates, and then you got the fraternity. That's the fraternity out there in the bullpen. You got 5 or 6 guys huddled up in a little group that's a hero or a goat every time they take them out.
And probably nobody else understands their role, their plight on a nightly basis more than they do. Nobody out. Gonzalez at second, Kuzminov at first, Chase Headley 0 for 3 at the plate with a 1-1 count. Really needs a ground ball here in the worst way. 2-1.
Rockies fans purchase a green pack and help out the environment while enjoying a day at the ballpark. You get 2 tickets for only $20, and $5 of each pack sold will go to the Wood for Wood tree planting program. Go to ColoradoRockies.com to purchase a green pack today. Available during the July and September green weeks. How did that ball miss everybody down there? There are a big group of people, like folks 200 stand up to catch this foul ball.
Hit cement.
Hits cement and goes about 80 feet in the air.
Because everybody was close.
Saying,
to that baseball. All of a sudden they got alligator.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, how many gloves are down there? See, there it goes. Wipe up in the stands.
Headley fouled it off his foot. Now it's off his knee.
I see more and more of that. Is it the long stride that let the ball travel deep into the box, and you hit that hard sinker in on you, man, and you're not getting enough wood on it. It's cutting your toes off, your ankles, your knees.
You know what else we've seen this year, George? We've seen at least 2 guys hit their back leg with a foul ball, which you almost never see.
I had never seen it. That's what's fun about coming to the yard. You see something new all the time. You remember Todd Hollingsworth was the first really bad injury, that spider fracture. Then Jermaine Dye with Oakland got it right after that. Hector Gomez, one of the promising young players in the Rocky system, had the same thing happen to him last year.
This is both. Hector's doing well, George.
Yep, back healthy again. Yep, throwing the ball well. Had Tommy John surgery after coming back on the leg injury, and You know, Rocky's showing an awful lot of patience because he's a very good talent.
And exciting talent. He looks like, if you looked at him from afar, his body type is the same, folks, as Dexter Fowler, but he plays shortstop. A lot of pop. Here's the 3-2, swung on and missed, and for the third time in the ball game, Chase Headley, strikeout victim, 1 out, and that'll bring up Blanco, who would be a prime double play candidate.
Oh, no question about that. Look at that fastball right underneath the hands of Headley. The thing is, the swing's coming through here versus here, and that's what allows Jason to get this ball in underneath his hands. He's thinking slider, slider. Oh, fastball, got by him. Great location by Jason Grilli.
Henry Blanco, a walk in. Ground ball to third, a pop to third. 0-1 on Henry. Blanco played for Team Venezuela in the '09 World Baseball Classic. He's getting strike one. He's not getting the outs that he needs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Henry with 3 home runs this year. A year ago he hit 3 the entire season. De La Rosa started, went 5 innings, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits, walked 3, struck out 5. He gave up a 3-run home run to Adrian Gonzalez. He went 1-2. Adrian Gonzalez is at second base. Kevin Kuzminoff at first. They both reached on singles. 2-2. Rockies with just 9 outs to work with offensively. They'll have Atkins, Hop, and Stewart next inning. In years past, playing the Padres, and they've always had an assortment of guys setting up Trevor Hoffman. Now, of course, Hoffman's closing ball games from Milwaukee. It's Heath Bell, and he's picked up where Hoffman left off. You never really want to get to those 7th, 8th guys. Right now, with the way Gaudin's pitching, bring somebody else in there, right?
Yeah, Joe, go down to the boat. Can we have a vote here who should come in? Let's have a little fun with it.
Anybody but Gaudin, the way he's throwing the baseball. Coming into today, he had a miserable record on the road. Kind of hiding back there. A couple of doors down. Oh, they got him picked off. Grilli's got a run at it now. He throws it to Atkins, and Gonzalez is an out. Adrian just started early. They were putting the runners in motion, trying to stay out of the double play. And I don't know if he came from the dugout, George, or if Grilli did that being a veteran on his own.
You know, I think it was probably Jason Grilli doing it there. You look over, I mean, Gonzalez, the only guy that went. The guy at first didn't go anywhere. So I don't know. There he finally runs up to the bag, but he wasn't moving anywhere towards it at the bottom. Kuzminoff wasn't. It was all Gonzalez that took off running on the 3-2 pitch. Get out of this inning. Ended up here with Henry Blanco. Make a good pitch.
Yeah, Blanco walks. And then you have first and second again.
On a 3-2 pitch, you're just trying to make sure you get this, try to get it into the strike zone, but on a slider that backed up like that, you know, a lot of times you're not going to get a call by an umpire. See Henry kind of pull the hand, slide. Did it catch enough of the plate? Not when it wrapped to the corner. If it wraps to the middle, you got a chance to get a call.
Now, Peralta's ready, no question about that. Wilson 2 for 3, a double and a single. A single came against Grilli last inning. 7 base runners allowed by Jason, and this is a flare to center field that Fowler will catch. In the inning, there was a solo home run off the bat of Scott Hairston. It is 5-0 in favor of the Cam, George.
Well, looking at the delivery on Mr. Godin today, and you can take a look at this, how well he turns the body and hides the baseball. You still don't see it if you're at home and you're right down here at home plate. And all of a sudden, because of the angles of this body and where the arm is, and then, man, here it comes. When it comes out of there, it's had an awful lot of deception on it. The big leg, the follow through, out over the top. Love the hand where it was. Good job there at Mr. Godin's delivery.
That was the Frost Brewed Coors Light Freeze Cam. Well, they're going to get another shot at Godin here in the 7th inning. Garrett Atkins, Brad Hoppe, and Stewart. Atkins hasn't gotten one in play. He struck out swinging and looking in the ball game. And that pitch misses, ball 1. Padres home for the Phillies beginning tomorrow. That's a strike, 1-1. Well, the 7-game homestand. Arizona will come in for 4 ball games. And then they got an easy road trip, George. They just get on a bus. There's a base hit. They go up to L.A., play the Dodgers, and then they have to drive down to Anaheim, play the Angels.
Well, that is kind of nice. 3-hour ride up, an hour back, and then an hour back to the house. Yeah, I talked to Bud Black about that. I said, how nice is this? What?
That was pretty funny.
What did I say?
Well, you said 3 hours up to L.A.,
yeah,
an hour down to Anaheim, then an hour home. So only 2 hours home, 3 hours up, 2 hours back.
Right, it's about right.
There you go.
You didn't know that? You didn't know that?
It depends. It's Southern California.
It could be 8 hours if you want it to be. Bud Black told me, he said the greatest thing about getting the job managing, he used to drive an hour up to Anaheim to do it all the time, to be the pitching coach there for the Angels. And he says, great. He said, you know, now I live in the San Diego area, and I went from an hour to go to work to 20 minutes. It's wonderful for him. Now he just said we got to win a lot more baseball games and hopefully get to do this for a while.
You are correct, though. It is much easier going north.
A lot of guys ride the trains.
Than it is going
They
south.
take the train up.
Yeah.
A lot of guys do. I know Jeff Kingery on the radio side, KOA, he does it. He rides the train up.
You're near the coastline. It's beautiful. 2-0 on Brad Hoppe. See if the Rockies can do what they did yesterday. Last 3 innings last night, they went 7 for 14, 3 doubles, a triple, scored 4 runs. They'll need to do a little bit better today. And a good start. Brad Hoppe with another knock. Atkins to second. 2 on against Godin. Nobody out in the 7th. And Big Ian Stewart will stride to the plate.
Well, get a chance. There's another fastball that's kind of up in the strike zone a little bit. And Hoppe, pretty good low ball hitter. Went down and got it. Took it right into the hole on the right side where Atkins was at first base. And they gave him an opportunity to get to first and second. You got a little pop coming to the plate. Take advantage of it. The most innings thrown this year by Godin came 2 starts ago against San Francisco. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 run.
And Stewart, aggressive on that first pitch, fouls it off. Greg Burke has been so good for the San Diego Padres after making his major league debut about 2 weeks ago. Stewart hits it high in the air to right center field. It's playable for Gwynn. Atkins will tag, and Garrett will move up. Just got it down around the label, George.
Let's take a look and see exactly where it was there on the Hyundai cam to see if he got it in enough on him to try to prevent this ball from getting out. And sure enough, just enough down the bat to keep him extending those arms a little bit farther. Stewart may have been looking for a soft jog around the base pass. Now this is where Godin has gotten so good and able to work out of situations. He's got first and third, 1 out, heavy sinker slider. Tulowitzki today got a base hit on a ball right back up the middle on a slider that was out over the plate.
And Tulo leans on one to center field. He's going to get. Oh, and he's dropped out there by Scott Hairston. Moving to second base is Hoppe. The Rockies get a run home with Garrett Atkins crossing the plate. It is 5-1. What is it about center field for the Padres here at Coors Field? It's turned into the Bermuda Triangle the last 24 hours.
That's not a lot of fun. Tony Gwynn last night had a horrible night out in center field. Lost one up in the sky. Then he ran in, charged, got by him. Scott Harrison, I got it. Hey, what happened? I felt it in the glove. See, they ain't screaming, telling everybody get away from me. I got it. I got it. Felt it hit leather. He tried to make the transition. The ball never got there.
Well, that's going to be a sacrifice fly, an RBI, and an E8. And now the Rockies have 2 on, 1 out. They got a run in, and this is chipped to right center field by Torrealba. This is going to score another run. Here comes Hop to the house. First and third, 5-2. Here come the Rockies.
Well, last night it was the 7th inning that the Rockies were able to do a lot of the same of what you're watching right here. That slider down and away. Torrealba, kind of an excuse me swing on the Hyundai camp, dumps this thing out into right field. That's going to allow the run to come around to score. Put Tulowitzki at third, Torrealba at first, and Bud Black in the middle of the mound making a change.
Matt Merton's going to pinch hit. Bud Black is going to go get Chad Godin, who for 6 1/3 has been very special. But now it's a 3-run ball game, and the Rockies have the tying run at the plate when we come back to Coors Field. Gwynn and Tony Gwynn, George feels his pain.
You don't know what it is. I had that problem last night. Glad you're out here, not me today. I like right field. It's a lot better. So how's everything else going? Godin not very happy right now. Probably would have gone ahead and given up just the 1 run anyway on the blue pitch by Torrealba, but with 2 outs, they make a different pitch, different results.
This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast. Greg Burke, who just reached the big leagues 2 weeks ago, George, and he's been impressive so far, gets the call. This will be his 8th appearance. Hasn't walked anybody, struck out 4, minuscule ERA.
Sinker slider with a split finger. He'll use the split mostly against left-handed bats versus right-handed, but he's got a huge sink on the baseball, and that's what he'll try to do right here with 1 out. Runners at first and third to get a double play ball.
And Matt Merton will pinch hit for Jason Grillet. Tulowitzki at third. He reached on the error. Sacrifice fly for Tulowitzki also in that at bat. Torrealba's at first. Merton with a ton of power. He could tie it up with 1 swing. He didn't like how long Burke was taking, so he stepped out. first year in a Rockies uniform. He owns a home run. Started the year in Colorado Springs. That pitch misses, ball one. Well, when you've been in the big leagues a couple of weeks, you're asked to do some strange things. On his way to the bullpen today, he's got his Tinkerbell backpack. Nice colors. Graduated from Duke with a double major, and he's carrying a Tinkerbell backpack. This is a broken bat floater that did not elude Josh Wilson. Initially, I thought it had a chance to get over his head. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Dexter Fowler.
Well, heavy pitch on the inner half of the plate. That's why. I mean, just couldn't get the arms extended when the ball's above 90, and it was at 92. And then it has a late dive in on their knuckles. It just shattered the bat right in the hands of Burton. See, watch that ball ride, and then he's trying to use the muscle that he possesses to get it out over that area. Hands very tight to the body, trying to get the good wood on it. Very difficult to do.
Dexter a single through the right side of the infield his last time up. He's 1 for 3 in the ball game. 5-2 San Diego. Outside. I like these stories, George, and I know you do, because you realize how difficult it is not only to make the big leagues, but to stick around. This kid, George, after his career at Duke, was signed by the Padres as a non-drafted free agent after attending a tryout camp.
Well, let me tell you what happens. A lot more teams are doing this now, and it's something you used to do quite a while ago. Is they would hold tryout camps. The Rockies this Thursday have an invitation-only type workout here at Coors Field that they send them in for a pre-draft workout, which is a lot of clubs did. My son went to 5 of them, so that's something that you do. So the higher-ups in an organization get an opportunity to look at those guys. He happened to drive up, said, yeah, I'll go throw the ball, see how I do. Like the body, like the fastball, something to work with. You know what? Here he is in the big leagues.
1-1, and it's a pop fly to shallow center. Hairston got a bad read. Going out, it's Wilson, and he makes the catch. Hairston started back. Fortunately for Scott, it was shallow enough that his infielders helped him out. In the inning, the Rockies got 2 to tighten things up a bit. Five runs, 11 hits for San Diego. They have the error from Scott Hairston in center field. The Rockies a couple of runs on 7 hits. Adrian Gonzalez hit another home run, another 3-run home run. 20 home runs, leads all of baseball for the slugging first baseman of the Padres. Joel Peralta's in the ballgame now for the Rockies. And Brian Giles is going to pinch hit for the San Diego Padres. It's 9-1-2 in the Padres lineup in the top of the 8th inning. A rare day off for the veteran Giles, but not a full day off.
Not a full day off. Come on to pinch hit right now. Burke did his job to calm down the Rockies offense. Now Peralta needs to slow down this offense of the Padres and allow the Rockies offense a couple of shots here. 6 outs to put up 3 on the board.
One ball, one strike. Peralta, third pitcher utilized today by the Rockies. Jorge De La Rosa started with 5 innings, gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. He gave up the 3-run home run to Adrian Gonzalez. This is a one-hop smash at Tulowitzki. Did the hard part, fielding the ball, and then he throws the heater over to first base. He's got one pitch, George. He's got the heater. That's all he throws.
Good one too.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Never throws a changeup. Here's our Remax out-of-town scoreboard. Mets behind John Maine, who evidently got hurt late in that ball game, beat Florida 3-2. Houston, who the Rockies will see beginning tomorrow in a 4-game set, edged the Pirates 2-1. Philadelphia, 250 wins for the old-timer George now. 4-2, they beat Washington
Jamie
today.
Moyer.
Jamie Moyer. Milwaukee 5-2 over Cincinnati. Gwynn, a liner off the top of the glove of Clint Barmas and into right field. So Gwynn is aboard.
Well, it's all about timing, but also you got to look at the velocity of the ball coming at you too. I mean, Barmas tried to time that. That ball had a little bit of lift about right there. Just lifted up off the end of the glove. Barmas tried to time it. Gets into the outfield for a base hit. Second of the day for Gwynn. Third time he's been on base. Walked back in the 6th.
Second hit for Gwynn. David Eckstein at the plate's 1 for 4. Let's get another Mike Shaw auto update with Mark Stat. Mark.
All right, Drew, quick story about David Eckstein. You were talking about tryouts. He walked on to the Florida baseball team, University of Florida. Went there, had an academic scholarship, wanted to play baseball. And what he did as a freshman is thrown down to first and wins back. But interesting, he told me they didn't start practice till October. He went to the cages Monday through Friday just as a student every single day. The second baseman transferred to Jacksonville. They said, look, we'll give you a tryout as a walk-on. The tryout at Florida, you get 5 swings and 3 grounders. That's all you get to see if you can play. They said, all right, you're in. He just put his time in. As a freshman, he had 10 at-bats, and then he was a starter from the sophomore year on, and the rest is history. Great story.
That is a tremendous story. And then he gets drafted by the Red Sox. He has had a long and productive career in the big leagues. He's been the MVP of a World Series. He has 2 rings at home. He's a great, great guy. Tremendous guy.
The college coach, I almost cut that guy.
Yeah.
He's the MVP in a World Series.
And in his career,
like 9 years in a big
look at that, George. He got a mid-280s career average.
Sure.
It's 4 grand slams. That's a strike 1 and 2. And you used to watch him throw. Still, you watch him throw from second. You go, man, is the ball going to get there? You used to watch him throw from short. And you say, how can he play out there every day? Because you love him. But, George, if you were a scout, his arm's a 40.
Well, it's not, maybe not that from shortstop, but he's got the perfect arm to play second, and the release is quick. Gets to a lot of balls. You know what? He plays the game right. He's a ball player. You know, it's funny, on that second strike thrown, I saw Eckstein kind of look at Gwynn like, thought you were going. You know, and he looked down at third base real quick at Glenn Hoffman, too, like as if the steal was on and he didn't get the sign or something. You don't see Eckstein pass on a pitch like that very often.
Yeah, because he likes to go the other way, and that was ideally suited to do that. Swung on a miss. Peralta strikes out Eckstein. 2 outs.
That fastball outside corner typically uses the split. As you look at the Hyundai cam, you know, a lot of hitters, when Peralta gets ahead, he'll throw that hard split finger. Here he just paints the heat on the outside corner. Hey, if you're looking for a fun and unique place to hold your special event, nothing like Coors Field. You can hold the weddings, theme parties, and a whole lot more here. 303-312-2552.
Scott Hairston, a home run in his last at bat. Single and a walk as well today. The only time the Rockies got him out was on a pop to second base. The book closed on Chad Godin. He's on the plus side. 6 1/3, gives up 2 runs, 1 earned. 7 hits, didn't walk a batter, struck out a season best 9. Hairston with 7 home runs now. Plays most days, George, but he doesn't play every day. So that home run total is pretty impressive.
And it could be a little bit more. This ball right center field last night. A lot of power to the deepest parts of the ballpark.
Outside on Hairston. 1 ball, 1 strike. So many guys who grew up in baseball. It's not any different from Parker. George, you know, his go-to guy, his dad, his brother, in terms of when he's struggling a bit at the plate. Same thing with the kid at first. Chatting about that earlier. No swing. They check it out with Todd Tishner at first.
Well, let's see if he did go around on him. No, he didn't. A lot of the body language kind of sold you on the fact that maybe he did. I think the bat flew open and flew there in an area where you could call it.
Two-one, and Tulowitzki has it, and he flips to Barnes. 5-2 San Diego, middle of 8. Need 5 more runs to 4 tacos for a buck with the purchase of a drink. They got their rally caps on. They just happen to be Taco Bell caps also. And you can pick up, but you know, they're happy because you know they're going to be able to eat tacos after the ball game anyhow because the Rockies scored 8 yesterday. And you know what? They're not done today. 6 outs to work with. Edward Mojica, another one of those guys who's done such a marvelous job for the Padres of late in their bullpen. He's on for the 22nd time. Very good ERA. He's on a nice run. He'll face Clint Barmas, Todd Helton, and Garrett Atkins. Mojica 13 consecutive scoreless innings, and he has the first pitch over to Clint, strike one.
Well, you think about Mujica and what he's done and where he came from with the Cleveland Indians. Earned run average over 6, spring training over 9, release, Padres pick him up. And how special is this? No change, another voice, another uniform. Good results start to happen.
Which goes back to my theory on most relievers, George, with all due respect. Most of them, good year, bad year. Good year, bad year.
Well, you know, I'm close to what you're thinking. I'm pretty close to what you're thinking. I'm more of a too good and a bad.
Too
good. They'll have a couple of good ones, and then they'll have a bad one. And when they have a bad one, I mean, it's a bad one. Then you have another couple of good ones.
Yeah, you want to get them on the up.
Well, you
part
hope
of the
so.
bell curve.
I hope you do.
Not on the downside.
You don't want to overspend when you're thinking about that third or fourth year they're out there thinking, and you don't want to act in an emergency where you go, I got to have a middle relief guy, you know, and then all of a sudden you go out and try to get what's best available. And based on the numbers, you go, man, this guy's pretty good. He's doing a nice job. And then all of a sudden he comes over and he doesn't do a very good job, or he comes up hurt because of the workload he's endured the last couple of years.
1-2 on Barmes. Helton behind him. 2-2. Well, Heath Bell has been sensational. Rockies got after him yesterday. And you think Mujica's due to give up some runs. Good start. Base hit. Clint Barmes. He's thinking 2 right now. And he's going to shut it down. George about halfway to second. Hairston got to the baseball and fired it in. Is that Scott still out in center field? They make a change. Gwynn's out in center field now. Gwynn's out in center field.
Here's the line drive right off the bat of Barmes. And again, Gwynn coming over to make the play on it. And I think what they did, they put Giles in, and then they took Harrison out of the game to inserted their pitcher into that spot.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Giles is in his customary spot in right field. Gwynn's in center. That's a strike on Todd. He was robbed of a hit his last time up, and it turned into a 6-4-3 double play. I thought one of the better plays we've seen defensively today. Josh Wilson was shaded up the middle, had to go to the backhand side on a well-struck baseball, and turned to get into a 6-4-3 double play. 1-1. Six hits in the series for Clint Barmes. Todd's cooled off a little bit on this homestand. Todd's 2 for 19 on the homestand after having a great road trip. Still, his splits are outstanding, coming in .339 against lefties, .311 against righties. Hits this to center field. Gwynn is going to make the catch. In deep center field, Barmes returns to first. 1 out. And that'll bring up Garrett Atkins, who singled in his last at bat and scored.
Well, Gwynn handled that one pretty good. I thought when that ball left the bat, and it may have had a little more carry to it. Checking the wind at Coors Field, not really a lot of effect there. It is blowing in from left field, according to the flags.
One to 0 on Garrett. Mujica has not given up an earned run in the month of May. Today is May 31st. This ball driven to left center field. But moving over and making the catch is Headley. He was squeezing the gap a little bit. Off the bat, George, I thought that may have been a tweener.
Well, I think you looked a lot of times. Garrett doesn't pull down that left field line and has not a lot this year. He does have it out into the gap, so it played pretty good here. And that allowed him to get the jump over by Headley to make it look a little easier than what it was. That ball was hit pretty well by Atkins.
2 outs, and Brad Hopp will take his turn. 2 singles, 2 sharp singles, and 3 trips this afternoon for Brad.
Yeah, that's one thing. Bud Black, Teddy Simmons, who runs the bench for Bud Black, said, you know, one thing they're doing a really good job of. Yeah, we don't score a lot of runs. You know, during that 10-game winning streak, he said, but boy, we really pitch to the defense. We don't miss our spots much. And that's attributed to Teddy. And, of course, Bud Black, and then Balsley that handles the pitching staff to set that defense up and pitch to it accordingly. Pretty good catcher. Ted Simmons.
He was a hard-nosed guy. I think
yes, he was, and he is very well. You know what? He's not somebody. He doesn't like talk out on the field. I mean, that's the thing. He doesn't like talk to the opposition when he's standing out on the field. That's that hard-nosed side of Ted Simmons. Played the game right. I can tell you that.
1-2. Brad hitting .350 after the 2 hits today. Depending on what Miguel Tejada and Carlos Beltran have done, he could be second in the league in hitting when he wakes up tomorrow morning. Joey Votto hitting .357. Though Votto's going to be down for a little bit.
Yeah, who's the young kid they brought up from the minor leagues to replace him too? I saw it in the paper this morning. Can't remember his name.
Nor can I. Outside 2-2. How about this also on Brad Hopp? Shows you how much he's matured this year as a hitter. He's been pretty good, obviously, in his career. He's hitting .317 for age with 2 strikes. Second best mark in the National League. When we talk about 2-strike hitting, we always talk about Todd and how great a 2-strike hitter he is. I mean, he's been the best in baseball the last decade.
You know what I think this,
Hopp.
you know what I think this guy does? I think guys try to trick him and throw the hard slider or maybe a split finger, something off speed, and he's going to the opposite field with it. We talked about this last night. His direction of hits are almost 3-to-1 to the middle and left than what it used to be, more of a dead pull guy. And now he's going to the opposite field with the baseball.
2 outs. Barma's still at first. And Brad pops it up. Gwynn makes the catch, so Majica continues to roll in the month of May. 5-2 Padres. Of the 9th inning, the Rockies postgame report to follow. It always does, and usually in the captain's chair we call him Captain Kirk, but today we're going to call him Captain Helmet.
I've got to, mister. Let's talk about the postgame. We'll hear what Chad Tracy has to say after his first series as manager of the Rockies. Also, we'll talk about Adrian Gonzalez, 20th home run of the season, and the Rockies get a little Chad medicine today. Chad Godin, great effort today. We'll talk about that as well. Back to you. I'm beaming it back to you, Drew.
Hey, you know what?
I've got to, mister.
You know what? Your kid's got to be wore out, man, when you leave the house every day. Oh, boy. All right. Back to the game, please.
Back to you, mister.
Ed, don't move. Scotty's going to beam you up. All right. There is, as Captain Tom just told you, Adrian Gonzalez at the plate, and he hits the ball to center field. It's going to stay in the yard. Dexter Fowler makes the catch, 1 out. Second inning of work for Joel Peralta. Scoreless 8th inning. Oh, Nissan momentum shift. Scoreless ball game. De La Rosa on his game until he made a mistake on an 0-2 fastball. George out over the plate. And Gonzalez can do that. Opposite field, he hits it about a dozen rows up. Second 3-run home run of the series. Our Nissan momentum shift brought to you by the good folks at Nissan. Kevin Kuzminoff takes outside. Kuzminoff a double and a single in his last 2 plate appearances. First 2 hits of the series. Padres trying to climb back to 500. There's only one team above 500 in the National League West. George, you know the name of that team?
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
You are correct. Boy,
wow,
you studied hard.
I tell you what. Thanks, Sam, for the note on the Dodgers.
They're in a terrible funk. They're playing tonight at Wrigley Field.
They lost 2 straight.
They've lost 2 in a row.
Fire the manager. Get rid of Joe Torre.
You know what, George?
New hitting coach. They're not hitting. They got shut out once. Get rid of Mattingly.
Yeah, that I think would be real reactionary. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and it's on the ground at third. High throw. Todd grows a little bit, makes the catch, and stays on the bag. Got stretched out there, didn't he?
Well, see, he's 6'2" or 3, and then he's got that 45-inch glove. Exaggerating by about 31 inches, but it is a long glove, and you know what? And I say this all the time, but I've been around and watched it so much. I'm fortunate enough the footwork to allow him to get up to catch this baseball. The positioning he puts himself in to make sure he doesn't get with the runner and to throw at the same time. Very good at what he does. No question about it.
Chase Headley's at the plate now, 0 for 4. Well, George, in the 9th inning, the Rockies down by 3. If they can have another rally, Ian Stewart, Troy Tulowitzki, and Yorvi Torrealba will have to be in the middle of things because they're the first 3.
And probably Spilborghs would hit at that spot, Peralta's spot. He's hitting 9th. If they can get down that far.
And you know who they're going to face. Guy they got after last night, something nobody else been able to do this year.
Nope.
Heath Bell.
Only giving up 1 run prior to last night.
Probably didn't sleep well.
Probably didn't enjoy it, I can tell you that.
3-0 on Headley. And that misses. So ball 4. 2-out walk to Headley, and that'll bring up Henry Blanco. Rocks on the road trip. We'll see the ace of the Houston staff tomorrow, Roy Oswalt. They'll send their ace, Aaron Cook. Then Jimenez and Felipe Paulino, Jason Marquis against Brian Moeller, Jason Hamill against Wandy Rodriguez.
2-1. Houston won today over Pittsburgh. Mets 3-2 over Florida.
Here's the first pitch to Blanco, and sliders in there for a strike.
Well, you know, I'm looking for a fastball. Hey, he put a left turn in it. What happened? Thinking about that thing coming in there, and they thought it was going to pop you in the shoulder. A lot of good hitters. I mean, guys that hit over 300, they do that just to set you up to throw another one. And when you throw the next one, they try to do the same thing. They'd hit it a country mile.
George, Mike Hampton got the win today in that ball game. 7 innings, allowed a run on just 3 hits.
But pretty good job again by Mike. What's his record now?
3-4. But Troy Hawkins got his 6th save. He's throwing the ball well for Houston.
Came to Houston, what, midway through last year after signing with the Yankees? Or was it the year before?
No, it was last year.
It was last year, kind of midway through, wasn't it? The Yankees moved him over to Houston. Houston got rid of their closers. You needed a guy.
He was spotless.
Troy's getting a chance here.
He was spotless last year in a Houston uniform. Here's the 1-1. Fouled off, 1-2.
Saw Jason Jennings the other night on MLB Network throwing a couple of innings relief. Doesn't have that good fastball anymore. I mean, he's not going to run it up, you know, into the low to mid 90s like he used to. More slider type guy now. working out of the Rangers bullpen.
And the slider's popped up and playable for Torrealba. And Yorvik makes the catch. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Rockies had a celebration last night after the bottom of the 9th inning. They're hoping for the same magic today. Trailing by 3 runs. Southwest Airlines. Southwest has low fares with no hidden fees, where what you see is what you pay. By Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. By Big Brothers Big Sisters. Donate your car and you'll get a free tow and tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. And by Mike Shaw Chevy Saab, Colorado's crossover and SUV headquarters for 50 years. Visit MikeShawAuto.com. Bottom of the 9th inning at the gorgeous baseball facility known as Coors Field. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Mark Stout. Rockies down 3 runs. Heath Bell blew his first save of the year last night. He's 14 of 15. The Rockies will counter initially with Ian Stewart. Heath Bell tough on himself after yesterday's ball game. He said, pitching like that, I ought not to be in the major leagues. Heath, I think that was a little bit strong in terms of your criticism. Self-criticism, self-evaluation.
Yeah, well, that just kind of tells you the type of competitor this kid is, and the time he has spent as a setup man to even long man to setup man here in San Diego, and prior to that with New York, with the New York Mets, that getting this opportunity to be a closer.
Missed on the first offering to Stewart. Ian 0 for 2, and he's been hit by a pitch. And it's 2-0. Stewart today getting his start in left field. 3-0.
You know what, and this is just me. I'm watching Henry Blanco catch this game right now in the 9th inning. He's really moving side to side, doing all that. You know what, in this ball game right now, you got a 3-run lead. Throw it right down the middle of 93. If he hits it out, he hits it out. It's still 5-3. Instead of being 3-0, creating traffic or maybe creating problems for yourself.
Yeah, he stayed on line there, and it's 3-1. Tulowitzki on deck. Three and 2. It's a pop-up to left field. Chase Headley has it, 1 out. That's a huge out. Obviously the first guy in any sort of save situation. But when you fall behind 3-0 and you come back and you're able to get that leadoff hitter. Otherwise, you know, I don't care who you are, George.
Well,
you start revisiting
yep.
the night before.
Well, you do. And I think that's the one thing you just fight, you know, as a relief pitcher to get that lead man. Because it just eliminates so many things the opposition manager can do to you.
Tulowitzki is 1 for 2 and a sac fly. Looking for his first knock against Heath Bell. And again, Bell misses on the first 2 pitches. It's 2-0. That's a strike, 2-1. You believe tomorrow's June 1st, George?
No, I really can't. And again, that's just a season flying by.
Ryan Spilborg's hoping for an opportunity. He'd be 2 doors down after Torrealba. 2-2. Now 3-2. Yeah, Bell threw a lot of pitches last night. Pitchers always say they're more sore at altitude. And this is hit hard. Knocked down by Kuzminov. Throw to first, and he gets Tulowitzki.
Well, only one error, and he was leading all third basemen. Did not made an error until this series when he let one get underneath and a couple of runs come in. Well, this one's smoked by Tulowitzki, and he just kind of lays this thing into the glove, knocks it down, and then able to throw out Troy Tulowitzki for the second out in the 9th inning.
Two outs, nobody on, and Torrealba, who's 2 for 3, will step in against Heath Bell. That's a strike. It's 0-2. Rockies 8 games under 500 beginning play today. Swung on and missed, and that's your Sunday afternoon ball game. San Diego prevails 5-2, so they get 1 of 3 against the Rockies in the first weekend for Jim Tracy as manager of the ball